Tyneside, our approach to commissioning has changed quite significantly over the last probably 4 to 5 years, as we've adopted a role much more of leaders of the system with our partners. So I think that the system role has become much more important than it ever was for us. I think getting people in the room to really talk about what it means to be in it together and talk about system leadership rather than leadership within their organisations is really critical. So before we did anything, we probably engaged in a much deeper conversation with people about, let's understand what it will really look like if we are setting aside some of our organisation best interests so we can do the best thing for our patients, the population and the system. And that is really tough because that's changing the whole concept around which, for example, foundation trusts came into being. So for us, a really deep conversation, and kind of linked to that, we therefore have different conversations about the money. So we abandoned PBR some time ago because we felt it wasn't really helping us to do the right thing for patients. And we've had a block contract arrangement, and while that brings security for providers, it does make us have a conversation about not how many patients you've seen, how many operations you've done, but what's the right thing to do for these patients in these groups. And that doesn't necessarily mean getting them to hospital. We regard this as a big piece of organisational development work, and not within an organisation but within a system. So yeah, for sure, we've encountered difficulties and obstacles. In terms of learning, there are a few things I would say. Firstly, this is not about new structures, so do not think you can reorganise yourself into a new way of working. That's definitely not what you should do. You have to have some deep and very difficult conversations. We, in fact, employed an external facilitator to help some of our conversations, because these are deep-seated and get to the root of why we are currently employed in trusts and in CCGs. The third thing is trying to engender a sense of trust. We've lost the sense that we can trust our clinical staff to do the right thing. And if we can, just make some of those decisions based on what frontline staff think, that trust will build, and we'll feel all a bit more secure about the types of decisions that we're going to make, because the whole system has to change to make that happen. The next steps for us are interesting, because it's an interesting time with commissioning in the NHS generally. We're on the verge of really formalising some of our joint working arrangements with our council, because I think that that's a really critical relationship. So we're about, I think, to embark on having a very large pooled budget, making joint decisions truly and formally with our council colleagues. That's taken a long time to get to that place, but I think that's a really significant step for us. And the other thing we're trying to do is to make sure that whatever happens in terms of the national picture, we preserve that local place-based system working, because it's taken a long time to get here. It's giving us great results. We wouldn't want to see that disturbed.